Shall we begin?
Welcome to the Happy MonsterCast. I'm your host, Scott Marchand Davis of Happy Monster Press.
Let's begin now.
This week on the Happy MonsterCast, the Legion plots to free an evangelist from the British fortress at Halifax. Previously on the Happy MonsterCast, the Continental Army has formed the Legion of Liberty, a unit of superhumans fighting for freedom from the British Crown. Elijah Allen, Master of Mind Control. Artemis Crow, Invisible Assassin. Hadanoet, the Wampanoag Swamp Monster. Lara Washington, Super Soldier. And Nubbins McGregor, New Recruit and Greycoat Deserter. The preacher Henry Aline has been replaced by an imposter who is preaching peace in Nova Scotia, and the Legion must break the real Aline free from the strongest British fortress in the New World. All right, so you guys have been kicking around in Boston for a while now, and you've managed to foil a couple of plots by the Order of the Seventh Circle to disrupt the alliance with the French, and now the war seems to be shifting to the south for the most part. So you're figuring you're off to Virginia or the Carolinas in the near term. So you're kind of surprised when Sam Adams approaches you, and he says, "I've had a message from General Washington for you. It's based on some intelligence the Culper Ring has gathered. If you care to join me at my home, I'd be happy to share it with you in confidence."
What's his? What am I getting off his emotions?
He seems excited.
Okay. All right. Not nervous. Maybe nervous, but no.
No, not nervous at all.
Okay.
Kind of excited and happy, if anything.
Okay. All right, then we'll be there.
Okay. So when you arrive, he ushers you into a drawing room, and he lays out a map of the colonies. And he says, for some time now, we've been attempting to engage the people of Nova Scotia in our cause for liberty. As I'm sure you know, the citadel at Halifax and the associated harbor is one of the strongest fortifications that the English have in the New World. So any sort of revolt or unrest in Nova Scotia would be a major strategic threat for the British and cause them to divert forces away from fighting us in the colonies. Besides, we have a natural affinity with the people of Nova Scotia. Many of them come from right here in Massachusetts or some of the other New England colonies. However, it seems that the people of Nova Scotia have opted not to join in the struggle, in large part because of a certain evangelical preacher by the name of Henry Aline. He has been preaching that war of any sort is sinful and destructive. And so the people of Nova Scotia have been listening to him, and they have opted not to take up arms against their oppressors. The Culper Ring, however, aided by intelligence from some of the Order of the Seventh Circle operatives that you've managed to capture, has determined that this Henry Aline is not Henry Aline at all. He's one of the Order's shapeshifters. The real Henry Aline is being held in the fortress at Halifax. Our hope is that you can free the real Aline, that he will then be sympathetic to our cause, and that perhaps we can bring Nova Scotia into the new republic that we are attempting to build. I should warn you, though, that the fortifications in Halifax are extremely strong, and this will be a very dangerous mission.
Hello?
Hello.
Can hear you.
Yay!
Hey.
So quick.
Sorry, it was privacy settings.
Okay. Quick summary. You are being dispatched to Halifax to free an evangelical preacher who has been doubled by the Order of the Seventh Circle, and the double is running around Nova Scotia saying, war is bad and sinful. You should definitely not revolt against the British.
Hmm.
All right. So Sam says, I've got good contacts among the fishermen here in Boston, and we have some that we're going to do a bit of a transfer at sea. We're going to head out. We're going to head out to the banks, and we'll hand you over to some sympathetic fishermen based out of Halifax, and they'll take you into the city. But from there, I'm afraid you're going to be on your own, and this is no small task. Halifax is crawling with redcoats, with Royal Navy sailors, with ships, and the citadel itself, where we believe Aline is being held, is a modern fortification with all the bells and whistles. Nevertheless,
modern British fortification.
Yes.
Mm.
Nevertheless, your squad, Lieutenant Allen, has been in the lion's den before, so we're hoping that perhaps you can pull off another miraculous rescue here.
This seems rather straightforward. We don't have to do our normal digging and prodding around. I imagine this will go without a hitch.
Our intelligence suggests that there are several hundred British regulars and loyalist militia garrisoning the fort.
Are we able to acquisition any British officers' garb for my crew, so that we can disguise ourselves when you're there?
We can certainly do that, although Sergeant Knowit will, I'm afraid, have to wear pants for this particular disguise.
Not be the first time we've implored such from him.
He survived it the last time.
You could always use your mind control on him.
I sharpen my axe.
Yes, we can certainly provide you with British uniform. Just specify what you're interested in. My suggestion would be Marines. We know there's a substantial Marine garrison in Halifax, and that way you won't have to worry about matching any particular regiment.
Oh, well then, yes, we'll for surely go that route.
All right, so he arranges for Marine uniforms in the ranks of your choice.
Fantastic.
That obviously won't help Pet Knowit or Clara as much as it will the other three of you.
That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We'll improvise for the rest. No worries.
All right, so and you put out to sea. It takes a few days to meet up with the corresponding fishing ship, and then another few days to make your way into Halifax. And as you make your way into the harbor, you see atop a hill overlooking the harbor the fort at Halifax, and it is intimidating.
Can imagine.
The fort at Halifax is the epitome of modern defensive engineering. Arranged like an 8-pointed star to provide colliding or enfilading fire, the fort is protected from cannon fire by sloped earthen glacis. Behind these deceptive slopes, sheer stone trenches protect the inner walls. Atop a hill overlooking the city and the harbor, the fort looks nearly impossible to take by force.
You said there's several hundred soldiers there?
That's what your intelligence indicates. And as you pull into the harbor, you can definitely see a massive British presence here. There are 2 ships of the line and 4 frigates in the harbor. There's a large number of Marines that appear to be stationed at the waterfront itself. And as you pull in, a noonday cannon fires off from the fortification itself.
How many seagulls are about?
A lot.
Yeah, just a thought.
Yeah, needn't be. We could get in that way.
Paging Mr. Nubbins.
Mhm.
All right, so the fishermen, being sympathetic, are able to kind of guide you to some low-key and rather low-class lodgings along the waterfront where you'll be inconspicuous. At which point they wish you good fortune and tell you that they'll be available in 3 days and every 3 days thereafter as they bring in their catch to transit you back to Boston.
Okay. All right. So the first day we should do a couple stealth reconnaissance with a couple of us that can do that to see what we're really getting ourselves into, and then really
Okay.
get into it. I imagine like the second day or the third day.
All right. So day one, how do you want to go about this reconnaissance? Do you want to shapeshift? Is some invisibility in play? You're going to hit the bars. What's the game plan here?
A couple of us that aren't particularly good at stealth can hit the bars, or somewhat persuasive. I'll hit the bar. I'll be
Okay,
one of
so
them.
you're going to hit the bar. Pet, what's your plan?
Well, I'm assuming that somebody is going to make me look different.
I think-
Well, one drastic way.
Shape-shifting is I will probably avail somebody of shape-shifting.
Okay, so you're going to go the seagull route. Same thing with Clara.
Yeah. I mean, unless I can get into the fort as a servant in some way or something, but I don't really
had
know
a
what
crazy, silly thought. I had a Pirates of the Caribbean thought.
Rat bomb. No, wait.
No, I'm thinking pet monkey.
Pet monkey. There you go.
monkey.
Oh, there you go.
On the shoulder of somebody who's walking through the doors.
That's not going to notice that they suddenly have a pet monkey, or one of us who's going to pass.
Well, technically, we haven't ingratiated ourselves with anybody yet. Nobody knows us here.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're Marines, would we have been world travelers?
Very likely, yes. Although whether you would be permitted to keep a pet is a whole nother question. Nubbins is of the mind.
A mouse in a pocket might be better.
Yeah, Nubbins is of the mind that unless you
conspicuous.
were a fairly senior officer, you probably would not have been allowed to keep a pet.
Well, let's go with that when we're all going to go in and actually enact the plan.
Well, in that case, seagull is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 seagulls, Artemis.
I am going to be invisible. So while the seagulls are doing aerial reconnaissance, I'm going to scale the walls and skulk about, try to get an inside scoop that way.
Okay. And Nubbins is going to go with the hitting the bars approach after he shapeshifts you guys.
Cool.
So
Right.
first things first, we need a little shape change roll here. So to shape change 2 of you, yes, you have both become splendid seagulls.
Hey.
Wonderful.
All right, so we'll start with Elijah and Nubbins hitting the bars. So what kind of things are you going to try to find out, or are you just going to kind of listen and see what kind of information you have?
I would like to get any information, but also if there's any celebrations going on tomorrow, any opportunities that would signify like what time of day tomorrow would be best for us to plan our advance.
Okay. So give me a persuasion roll.
Okay.
Just as a starting point.
Not terrible. I'll take it.
Not terrible at all. All right, so you're kind of hanging out in the bars with Nubbins and listening in. There's no real special activity going. There's a lot of soldiers and sailors in town. The sailors are mostly complaining that they don't get enough shore leave. The Marines are mostly complaining about the sailors. And the handful of soldiers in there, about half of them more than half of them seem to be loyalist militia, and they're complaining about the regulars, and the regulars are complaining about the militia. You only see one color of one regimental color on the redcoats, so you figure there's not more than one regiment there, for what that's worth. Of course, a regiment could be as much as 1,000 guys easily, but probably not.
Mm-hmm. Are they expecting any convoys of any sort, or is there any sort of trade coming in and out of the fortification?
There's trade coming in and out quite a bit, but they're not expecting any large fleet activity in the near term. There's a lot of griping about the uppity colonists to the south, and you do hear the name Henry Aline mentioned a couple of times in a very positive light as somebody who's preaching peace and goodwill towards men.
Okay, I would like to put like a whisper in some of these guys' ears that the current guy posing as Henry Aline is a falsity. So
Okay.
if I could mind read a couple of them and then speak through them just to put out seeds of doubt, that's what I want to attempt to do.
Give me a mind reading roll first, and then based on that, I'll do a
puppet. That's what I meant. But yeah, mind read.
Well, yeah, you can't really puppet an idea into somebody. You can just tell them what to do.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so now give me a performance roll at +1 because you can kind of figure out from mind reading who's susceptible.
Okay, performance. I don't have that as a skill. How do I untrained?
Untrained.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll that and we'll add the 1. So I have 4.
Yep. Good enough. So the rumor at least seems to be going around a little bit. But you also notice as you hear it later in the day repeated back that they're not. People aren't taking it as super credible.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I just wanted to put the seed out there.
Plant the seed. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, seagulls. You're able to fly up and over the fortification without any real trouble, and it's scary looking. There's cannon all around, including crossfire positions, and make notice rolls to see how accurate your troop counts are.
Also want to try to take note of when there's a changing of the guard and stuff like that.
All right, Pet Know It, you're better at counting.
Sad.
You figure there's you see, basically drilling in the courtyard kind of a thing. You see at least 150 redcoats and at least 400 militia. So you're talking 500 plus, and you figure there's probably some you don't see because they're on the night watch and they're asleep. You also see no less than 30 heavy cannon emplaced around the perimeter of the fort, with not only solid shot but also canister and grape shot for blasting big chunk, basically giant shotguns blasting at approaching infantry, as well as furnaces for heating the shot to create red hot cannonballs to fire into ships to set them on fire. There is a very large, very well protected powder magazine, and appears to be ample supplies in this thing. It is not an impregnable fortress. It could be reduced, but not easily. You'd need a siege train and a whole lot of guys if you wanted to take this thing by force.
So
where is the magazine in relation to?
And how protected is it from up high?
The magazine, quite well, because they're worried about shells. So it's basically buried. And covered with a stone roof. And it's more or less in the center of the fortification.
How
Make
tempting.
battle rolls. However,
Battle?
yes. Which, if you don't have it, it's untrained.
Okay. Oh, can I focus and boost trait?
Yeah, make a boost trait roll if you want to boost your battle skill. All right. So now it is a D6. So let me see what skill you have that you can roll as a proxy. I'm sure you probably have a D6 in something.
Notice or common knowledge, maybe.
Yeah, either one of those will work. Okay, so you're flying along and you kind of focus in on, I want to understand battle. I want to understand strategy. And so with your superpowered knowledge that you've acquired, you know that there are probably smaller ready magazines near the cannons. So there'd be a smaller quantity of powder readily available to the cannons, which would be in linen bags. So you basically stuff a bag of powder into the cannon and then put the cannonball on top of it. And then the main magazine would have a whole bunch of those linen bags, but also kegs of powder and facilities for making the bags. So there's a lot of powder in the main magazine. There's also going to be smaller amounts of powder around the perimeter near where the cannons are.
We see any way to access the main magazine?
From inside the fort, you could go in the tunnel that leads down into it. But you'd have to be inside the fort.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't know and you can't see from the air is where they are keeping Aline.
Right.
Hopefully not right near the magazine.
You would be considered prisoner, right? So I would imagine if there's a dungeon, which it's a fort, I would imagine there's something.
Yeah, there's certainly you are, again, based on your knowledge of fortifications that you're drawing on here, thanks to your superpowers, you're quite sure that there's a brig or jail inside the fortification, but not exactly sure where it would be. You've got 3 or 4 likely candidates from flying over it as a seagull, but you can't narrow it down further than that.
Okay.
The most likely scenarios are that he's in one of the walls, that it's in a building attached to what seems to be kind of the command post of the fort, or that it's attached to some of the storehouses that are along one side. So it's probably in one of those 3 locations, but that's as specific as you can get from the air.
Aren't there any bright, shiny keys that are hanging on hooks anywhere, are there?
Sadly, no. Okay. Okay, Artemis, you're going to try to scale the walls and get into the fort.
Right.
So I'm going to...
Or like, slip past a door, whatever seems most, while it's being open for some other reason. You said there's traffic going in and out. So, whatever seems most likely.
You're probably better off trying to stealth your way in because you're talking sheer granite walls here. They're not all that climbable. So first off, I need an invisibility roll at +2 because you have plenty of time to concentrate.
Okay.
Don't roll it that way.
Oops. Sorry.
You should have an invisibility skill, which is better than untrained. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Nope.
You want it as a
Nope. No, still not right. Go to your skills.
It is skills. Right. That's what I did.
So you're clicking on invisibility in your skills because it should be a D6 -2.
It is D6 -2. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's not showing up as D6 -2.
Interesting.
It's showing up as untrained, but I just did something. So try it again. Hey, there you go. Okay. Roll that one.
Right. So, but you want it as a +2 for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have time. You have plenty of time to concentrate.
Right.
Okay, you're invisible.
Okay.
Now I need a stealth roll as you're trying to kind of sneak in with one of the groups of troops that's moving into the fortification.
Okay.
You're pulling a Baggins last through the door kind of thing.
All right, so this is just straight up stealth unmodified.
Straight up stealth unmodified.
All right.
Perhaps you'd like to Benny that.
Yeah, I think I would.
Much better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So
you're in.
Okay, so I'm in, and of course, being stealthy and invisible. I mean, I'm practiced at this, so I'm sort of avoiding foot traffic and whatever. The things that I want to know. I mean, we already kind of covered this. I want to know exactly where in the Citadel Henry Aline is being held. Under what sort of guard or what sort of bars, locks, gates, whatever. Are there keys that I can get to those gates? Because presumably, if I can pick them up and put them in my pocket, they will become invisible along with me, and I can just walk out with the keys.
All right. So first things first. Give me a notice roll.
Okay. And my sheet closed again for some reason. Right.
Might have been because I opened it and closed it.
Okay. All right. So here comes notice.
Oh yeah, you're all over this.
I am very observant.
Nice.
Okay, so you're very quickly you notice that there are some doorways into the walls, and one of them has 2 redcoat sentries posted on it.
Okay.
So you're thinking, okay, that's worth checking out because why are they guarding a hole in the wall?
Right.
And so sneaking past them is relatively easy because you're invisible. And so inside, there's a small guard room with a couple of guys sitting playing cards. Actually, no, they wouldn't be playing cards. There are a couple of guys playing dice. Cards are for rich people. And beyond them is a row of cells. And there are 3 or 4 people in the cells, one of whom matches the description you've been given of Henry Aline.
Okay.
There are also on a hook in the wall in this little room, there are keys.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I am going to hang back for a moment. I mean, for a little while. I've got all day to do this. So I'm going to try to kind of hang out and observe. I mean, do they have a changing of the guard? Do they have people come in and feed the prisoners? Do they unlock the cells for any reason? Are these keys ever touched, moved? Is dealing with the keys a regular part of the guard's activity?
It would appear that it is not, because there are people who come and go. At one point, they bring in a guy in shirt sleeves and are jeering at him because apparently he's was an attempted deserter. And they take the keys and lock him in one of the cells. And late in the day, an orderly comes in with trays of really foul-smelling stew and stale bread. And along with some cups of water, they pass those on wooden trays into the cells.
Okay.
The cells themselves have chamber pots in them, which don't appear to be emptied all that frequently.
Okay. All right. So I think I've got a pretty good sense here. I'm going to go actually check out, slipping away from this. I will leave the keys where they are for right now. The door that these 2 guards were guarding, is it just a doorway or is there a door there? A door to this?
No, it's an archway.
Okay. Right.
There is a door. There is a door on it, but right now it's being kept open. Or what? Or let me rephrase. There is a door inside the archway,
Okay.
which was ajar, which made it easy for you to get in. It's
Okay.
not a very good door.
Okay. Well, in that case, I am going to very stealthily slip the keys off the hook and put them in my pocket. They'll be invisible with me once I take them.
Okay. That
Right.
is, of course, a gamble
Right.
that nobody's going to notice for the next X amount of time that they're gone. Make a thievery roll.
Okay. I can do that.
You know, looking at these keys, you're pretty confident you could pick the lock.
Oh, all right. Okay, cool. Well, then I won't bother with the keys. I'll leave them where they are. I am going to go inspect the powder magazine, the main one, and I'll try to take a look around at the ones that are by the cannon as well.
All right, I need you to make a battle roll to know that those are there. The main magazine is obvious, but the ready magazines are not.
Okay, that's just going to be an unskilled.
Good enough.
All right.
All right. So you remember this whole concept of ready magazines. So you go and look. The main powder magazine has a very heavy door on it. And there's no real traffic in and out of it. So you'd have to open the door in your invisible self to get inside.
Okay.
The ready magazines, on the other hand, are basically like stone alcoves carved into the walls with heavy leather curtains over them.
Okay.
And there's a pile of, you sort of peek around the curtain, there seems to be a pile of about 20 charges, as well as a small pile of maybe 10 or a dozen shells in each of the magazines. And there seems to be a magazine for each cannon.
Okay.
The cannons themselves are mounted on swivels, which have a rather clever mechanism where when the cannon's fired, it recoils up a ramp and on skids, basically, and then slides back down into position after the momentum is spent.
Right. Okay. All right. I think I know everything that I need to here. So I'm going to make my way out of the Citadel and go back to our hotel or wherever we're staying so we can report back to each other.
It's a pretty lowbrow tavern on the waterfront. Yeah, so you all reconvene, and you share the intelligence that you've gathered, and now you need to make a plan.
Okay. How far do we want to go with this? We want to rescue, have a crew rescue, and have another crew sabotage, or are we just trying to stick to the main plan here?
I think, I can certainly be part of the rescue crew so I can, get in and pick the locks and stuff and even be in there waiting for things to kick off. What we could do is do a distraction with, set off one of these other magazines and then stage some kind of an assault elsewhere. And then in all the confusion, break this guy out of the cell and then hustle him out.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking if the ready magazines are relatively exposed, to just set something off, even as a seagull, might not be all that difficult.
Right.
What do
There's
you
always
think?
rat bomb.
Yeah.
Rat bombs.
Yeah. I mean, rat bomb would be great. Now, actually, I did have one question here. So the cells are set inside the actual wall of the Citadel, right? Now,
The ready magazines, yes.
No. I'm talking about the prisoner cells where these guys are held. Is this like actually within the wall of the Citadel itself, or is this in an interior space?
It's inside the wall of the Citadel.
So, possibility, and I don't know if this is crazy or not, and we might use a mouse bomb here, is to go down to the end of the row of cells, blow up the mouse bomb, and then blow a hole in the wall and hustle him out that way. Is that even plausible?
It's doable. It's a pretty. The magazine probably wouldn't blow a hole in the wall, though. You need a lot more powder for that.
Right.
I mean, I guess one question is, do we want to try to blow the main magazine? Might be no.
How-
Just
Mhm.
it might be
easy
too
is to
risky.
get in there.
I think that might be mission creep.
Yeah. I mean, I think our
Yeah,
mission
don't get
here
me
is
wrong. I'm a big fan of blowing stuff up.
Mhm.
right.
But
I don't know. I think we could
take
probably
the whole
get him
focus, maybe
out
a little bit above us.
without. Yeah, I think we could probably get him out without having to necessarily have a diversion. I think if we're going to blow some stuff up while we're there, it should be for the sake of just blowing it up, like in disabling these cannons.
Okay.
Here's a different, another possible thought. What if I don't remember his
Nubbins?
nubbins?
Henry.
Mhm.
Yes.
Henry- Okay.
What if Artemis and Nubbins made their way to the jail? And
Mhm.
So how would Nubbins be getting in?
He would be a mouse in my pocket, invisible.
Can
no,
he change himself?
Nubbins can't mouse.
Yeah, Nubbins can't change himself.
Okay.
He can't think himself.
No, he has shape change other.
Mm.
What? Didn't I get teleport?
So what if Elijah and Nubbins made their way there, and Nubbins mouse are damsel in distress?
Yes, you could teleport, but it's short distance. It's 24 yards.
Okay, but if he is outside the Citadel wall, near that, does it matter if there's something in between us? Like I could just teleport him directly inside.
It does not matter, but getting that close to the walls unobserved would be tricky.
Oh, wait. What rank is Nubbins right now, uniform-wise?
He opted for a lieutenant of Marines.
How close could a lieutenant get within the Citadel to the jail?
Potentially pretty close.
So if you're a mouse in his pocket with the ability to teleport, he could walk you most of the way there. And then you could bip him in where he needs to be.
Right. Well, what I was thinking is, if I'm going in invisible, then I
Mhm.
should be able just to get to the cells, no problem. Once
Right.
he's
Could you
close,
then teleport out from the cell?
I could teleport myself. I could actually, as I'm reading the description, I've never actually used this power, but as I'm reading this description, I should be able to teleport somebody else out too.
You can. Bear in mind that you are unskilled.
Right. So I could theoretically, possibly, maybe kill this guy.
You're going to be starting at a D4 -3, adding to teleport one or two people.
Ugh, that's a big hill to climb.
Yeah, that's too much. It's too much. Ooh, yeah, but Clara's saying boost the trait.
Could we give
How
it a
much could you
try?
boost it? How many points do you boost it toward? Does it add like a 1 or a 2?
It would either be a D4 or a
Oh.
D6, depending on how she rolled.
I mean, I could roll it and see if it's worth trying. I
Mm.
mean, are we allowed to do that? I gave it a
You
shot.
can.
Because
Didn't
my
work.
thought
Bear in mind that if you use it, if you use it on Artemis, then it'll be more difficult to use it on yourself.
Right.
Mm.
Because what I was thinking is that rather than so the big trick here is going to be getting Henry Aileen out. So we could try to teleport him out, or we could turn him into a mouse and just carry him out. But to turn him into a mouse means
I mean,
that
if
we have to
there's
have
a
nubbins.
fire, wouldn't there be like some kind of evacuation
Probably not.
opposed to just
Well-
really? They would let their prisoners burn?
No guarantees.
Well, we can probably get Nubbins in there if I go, because I get the mind control thing. So getting him into the jail probably wouldn't be that hard, I imagine.
Getting who into the jail?
Nubbins.
Nubbins.
Yeah. We need to just be. We just need to be like. We need to be a somewhat, like, I don't know, I guess charismatic in our persuasion. But on top of that, if we run into too much difficulty, I'll just puppet the guy that we're talking to.
Well, and remember, I can be invisible.
Mhm.
So I mean, I can just sort of stealth along as you're
And
persuading and
assist.
puppeting your way in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once we're there, I'll open the cells, open any doors and cells, let the guy out.
Mhm.
Then you go strolling out with him as a mouse in your pocket, and I will invisibly stealth behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
That
if
sounds-
shit goes sideways, then we can always, blow stuff up.
Maybe we should have.
Or we could do that
Someone-
concurrently.
Yeah. How many party members do we have? Maybe one of them should be like
You've
following
got-
us
You've got
as the
5.
bird or an animal. Following us as an animal, things go wrong, but they could go do the other plan and signal the other person as well. Because it'd be, as of right now, it's what? Brandon, me, Nubbins, so Bob, so that's 3. And we got the other 2 guys,
Yeah.
Clara
Clara and Noah.
Pet
Who are
Noah.
much more conspicuous. Yes.
Mhm. One of you guys could already be ready to distraction. The other one could be like a bird or something and fly and signal it's going to happen.
I mean, to carry like a small lit something into open ready magazine. I mean, it might cause the guards to come running to the prisons to make sure that there's no jailbreak being attempted, right? But
Right.
it'd just be fun to blow some things up.
Maybe we just do it, I guess, on the far side so that they're not super concerned on it being a jail.
You blow up one of the ready magazines on the far side.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me let's see if we can run down here. Artemis is going in invisibly.
Mhm.
Nubbins is going invisibly
In disguise.
in disguise as a Marine.
Mhm.
So then Clara and Pet Noah and Elijah, what are you guys doing?
I'm going also with Nubbins to,
So you're also going
Yeah.
in disguise, yeah.
yes, if he needs like someone to talk him past the situation. That's what I'm going to be there
So
for.
I mean, Pet Noah could rat bomb a magazine.
How large are these linen sacks of gunpowder? Like one.
Figure like a large sack of flour,
At least 10
Good
pounds.
size.
roughly, yeah.
Hmm.
They're different sizes for different ranges.
Is Pet Noah going to be able to get out of there after he rat bombs though? Like, is he going to be in not rat form anymore after he rat bombs? How does that work?
He would still be in rat form when he reformed.
Okay. So you just
He
explode
can just
and then
jump over the
move
wall, right?
Jump over the wall? Probably not.
crawl,
As a rat?
maybe find a hole and scale himself up.
Right.
He could be a monkey, like he was talking about.
Actually, if the goal
A
is for him
monkey
to
would
be,
probably be a little more conspicuous running around the fort.
but if he's going to be up on one of the guns and stuff,
Yeah.
he should be a seagull because they're around all the time, and it's no big deal to see a seagull hanging around, and he can
So
blow up his.
And they're kind of
Just
big and
like-
strong.
So
Like
he's
kamikaze
gonna
seagull?
seagull dive. He's gonna dive bomb the magazine.
Seagulls
That's
dive
pretty
bomb all
epic.
kinds of stuff.
That's
So we
pretty
went
epic,
from rat
actually.
bomb to seagull cruise missile. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they seagulls steal your French fries. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what's Clara gonna do in all of this then?
Yeah, so I am totally happy to be a seagull if there is a small lit brand, or if there's a like probably not going to be able to lift up a torch, but if I could carry a small lit brand and drop it into a ready magazine.
Problem now,
No, you'd have to go through. The whole point of the leather curtain is that a random piece of fire can't make it through. You have to go in there with the fire, which means you'd be exploding with it, most likely.
We could just use to signal Pet Know-It if we need him to do that. You could be a bird and hang around and watch us.
So
We'll have,
relay
like, a
signal,
signal.
that makes sense. Okay, so 2 seagulls, 1 invisible man, and 2 disguised Marines are going to try to pull this off.
right, but okay, before we leave, so my question is though, so he is going to now have 2 people maintained as animals. What's
Yes.
that going to do to his ability to turn our boy into a mouse?
It will be more difficult.
I guess if it gets to that point, then we'll just have to, transport the prisoner.
Oh yeah,
And
okay.
hope that
Yeah.
that works out.
Yeah, okay, that works.
You can always do get help.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. All right. That works.
All right. So with that, we'll leave it for the week, and next week we will attempt to implement your brilliant plan.
I love it when a plan comes together. This is going to be flawless. This is going to
Yeah.
be beautiful.
Surely.
We're just going to
Surely.
sweep him out.
You can follow Happy Monster Press on Facebook as Happy Monster Press, at our website, happymonsterpress.com, Twitter as Happy Monster PRS, or follow the podcast on YouTube, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, iTunes, or Google Play Music. The Happy Monster Cast is part of the Savage Worlds Media Network. This game references the Savage Worlds game system available from Pinnacle Entertainment Group at www.peginc.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds, all related settings and unique characters, locations, and characters' logos and trademarks are copyrights of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. All other content is the intellectual property of Happy Monster Press. Background music is Ice Cold by Jason Shaw.
Oh, for sure.